Welcome back to Mastermindful. As October rolls in, so does Emotional Wellness Month, a reminder to take a step back, breathe, and reflect on our emotional health. This month, we're diving deep into understanding our emotions, learning how to navigate them with grace, and building a toolkit for lasting emotional well-being. In today's video, we'll explore 5 simple, powerful practices to improve your emotional wellness. These are practices I use in my own life, and I believe they can make a world of difference for you too. Let's get started. Before we dive into the tips, let's take a moment to truly understand what emotional wellness means. It's about more than just feeling good all the time. It's about creating a space within ourselves where we can honestly acknowledge and respect our emotions. All of them. The good, the challenging, and everything in between. It's about learning how to navigate the ups and downs of life, the inevitable storms we all face, with resilience and grace. Because let's face it, life can be messy. We all go through heartbreak, disappointment, grief, and moments of self-doubt. But here's the thing, emotional wellness gives us the tools to weather those storms without being swept away. It's about finding that inner strength to acknowledge those feelings, to sit with them, and to understand that they are a part of our human experience. Did you know that our emotions have a profound impact on our physical well-being? When we experience stress, anxiety, or anger, our bodies respond. Our heart rate increases, our blood pressure rises, and our bodies release stress hormones like cortisol. Think about a time when you felt anxious. Do you remember your heart pounding in your chest, palms getting sweaty? That's your body's way of telling you that something isn't right. And over time, if we don't address these emotional stresses, they can manifest in physical ailments. It's about creating a life where we feel empowered to face whatever comes our way with an open heart and a steady mind. Our first tip is something so simple, yet so incredibly powerful: mindful breathing. Now, you might be thinking, I breathe all the time. What's so special about that? And you're right, we do breathe all the time. But how often do we really pay attention to our breath? How often do we use it as a tool to calm our minds and soothe our souls? Mindful breathing is about bringing our full awareness to our breath, to that natural rhythm of inhaling and exhaling. Studies have shown that even just a few minutes of focused breathing can have a profound impact on our physical and emotional well-being. It can lower our heart rate, reduce those pesky stress hormones like cortisol, and bring a sense of calm and clarity to our minds. One of my favorite breathing techniques is the 4-7-8 method. Here's how it works. First, find a comfortable position. You can sit with your back straight or lie down if that feels better. Close your eyes if you'd like. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4. Really feel your belly expand as you draw in that breath. Hold your breath for a count of 7. Notice the stillness, the pause. And then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 8. Imagine all that stress, all that tension, leaving your body with each exhale. Repeat this cycle for a few minutes, and I promise you'll start to feel a shift within yourself. You'll feel more grounded, more centered, and more in control. It's like hitting the reset button on your nervous system. Dr. Herbert Benson, a renowned cardiologist and a pioneer in mind-body medicine, has done extensive research on the power of the relaxation response, and he's found that mindful breathing is one of the most effective ways to elicit this response. When we engage in mindful breathing, we're essentially sending a signal to our bodies that we're safe, that we're not in danger. And in turn, our bodies respond by calming down, by relaxing. It's like flipping a switch from a state of stress and anxiety to a state of peace and tranquility. Our next tip is something near and dear to my heart: journaling. Now, I know what you might be thinking, journaling? That's so old school. But trust me on this one, journaling is a powerful tool for emotional well-being, and it's something I've practiced for years. Journaling isn't just about documenting our days or keeping track of our to-do lists, although those can be helpful too. It's about creating a safe space for ourselves to explore our inner landscape, to process our emotions, and to gain clarity and insight. Think of your journal as a non-judgmental friend, someone you can confide in without fear of criticism. It's a place where you can be completely honest with yourself, where you can pour out your heart and soul without holding back. When we bottle up our emotions, when we try to suppress them or ignore them, they don't just magically disappear. They fester and grow, often manifesting in unhealthy ways. But when we put pen to paper, something magical happens. We begin to externalize those feelings. We give them a voice, a shape, a form. And in doing so, we begin to understand them better. We start to see patterns in our thinking, triggers that set us off, and coping mechanisms that no longer serve us. It's like holding up a mirror to our souls, allowing us to see ourselves more clearly. Start by simply writing down what you're feeling. Don't overthink it, just let the words flow. Ask yourself questions like, what am I feeling right now? What triggered this feeling? How can I respond to this feeling in a way that feels authentic and true to myself? The American Psychological Association has done extensive research on the benefits of expressive writing. And they found that journaling about our emotions can help reduce anxiety, improve our mood, and even boost our immune systems. So, grab a journal, find a quiet corner, and let the words flow. You might be surprised by what you discover about yourself along the way. Our next tip is all about creating a regular practice of emotional check-ins. Think of it like taking your emotional temperature throughout the day. Just like we check in with our physical health, it's just as important to check in with our emotional well-being. Now, you might be thinking, I'm busy. I don't have time for emotional check-ins. But here's the thing, it only takes a few minutes, and the benefits are well worth it. Set aside 5 minutes each day, maybe first thing in the morning or right before bed, to simply sit with yourself and tune into how you're feeling. Ask yourself, how am I really doing? What's going on inside my emotional world? And here's the key: approach this check-in with a sense of curiosity and non-judgment. Don't judge your emotions, simply observe them. Notice any sensations in your body. Are you feeling tense, relaxed, energetic? Try to name your emotions without attaching any stories to them. For example, instead of saying, I'm feeling stressed because of work, simply acknowledge, I'm feeling stressed. This simple act of acknowledging our emotions without judgment can be incredibly powerful. Studies have shown that when we name our emotions, it actually reduces their intensity. By practicing regular emotional check-ins, we become more aware of our emotional patterns, our triggers, and our coping mechanisms. Our next tip is all about the power of connection. For years, I believed that strength meant going it alone, shouldering my burdens without relying on others. But I've learned that true strength comes from allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, to reach out for support when we need it most. We, as humans, are wired for connection. We thrive in community, in relationships where we feel seen, heard, and understood. The Harvard study of adult development, one of the longest-running studies on happiness and well-being, has found that close relationships are one of the biggest predictors of a long and happy life. Dr. Robert Waldinger, the study's director, has said that people who are more socially connected to family, to friends, to community are happier, they're physically healthier, and they live longer than people who are less well connected. So how can we cultivate more meaningful connections in our lives? It starts by making a conscious effort to nurture the relationships that matter most. Reach out to a friend or family member you haven't spoken to in a while. Schedule that coffee date you've been putting off. And when you're with loved ones, be present. Put down your phone, turn off the TV, and truly listen to what they have to say. Share your own thoughts and feelings, knowing that you're in a safe and supportive space. Remember, vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. It's what allows us to connect with others on a deeper level, to build bridges of understanding and empathy. So, open your heart, reach out, and let the people in your life know how much they mean to you. Our final tip is perhaps the simplest yet most profound of all: cultivating gratitude. In a world that often focuses on what's lacking, gratitude invites us to shift our perspective, to appreciate the abundance that already surrounds us. And the amazing thing about gratitude is that it's not just about feeling good, although it does that too. It's about rewiring our brains, training our minds to focus on the positive. Dr. Robert Emmons, a leading researcher in the field of gratitude, has found that people who regularly practice gratitude report higher levels of happiness, optimism, and overall well-being. They also tend to experience better sleep, stronger immune systems, and even lower levels of inflammation. So, how can we cultivate more gratitude in our daily lives? It starts by making it a conscious practice. Each day, take a few moments to reflect on the things you're grateful for. It could be something as simple as a warm cup of coffee in the morning, a beautiful sunset, a phone call with a loved one, or even just the fact that you woke up breathing today. Write them down in a gratitude journal, share them with a friend, or simply reflect on them in your mind. The more we focus on what we're grateful for, the more we train our brains to see the good, to appreciate the beauty that surrounds us, even in the midst of challenges. Gratitude is a powerful antidote to negativity, stress, and anxiety. These 5 tips may seem small, but consistently practicing them can have a profound impact on your emotional wellness. Remember, emotional wellness is a journey. It's about nurturing your mind and your emotions. Which of these tips will you start with? Share in the comments below. This month, let's commit to prioritizing our emotional well-being. Let's create space for self-reflection, for connection, for gratitude. Don't forget to subscribe to Mastermindful for more wellness insights. Let's make this October a month of emotional